everyone. You're listening to the Everything Geek podcast. I'm your host, Rory, and joining me are my co-hosts, Graham.
Hello.
And also we have Dan.
Hello there.
And also joining us today is a very special guest. We have actor Leif Gantvoort, who played the cash register thief / Uncle Ben's killer in The Amazing Spider-Man. So how are you, Leif?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's a good day.
That's great. So, jumping straight into the questions, Leif, my first question for you is, when did you first decide you wanted to be involved with movies?
I don't know. I guess I got the acting bug when I was really young, and I loved entertaining my parents. I used to do stupid little characters around the house. I mean, it's not unlike anything that a lot of kids do, but then it was, I guess the idea of pursuing it as a career happened when I went to college, because I went to college with the intention of being a math major, focused on secondary education because I was really good at math. But the first semester of college, it didn't take me long to realize that all the math classes started at 8 o'clock in the morning and all the theater classes were at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I switched my major about halfway through my first semester.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. My second question, Leif, is you've been involved with movies in many ways, but is there a particular favorite for you? Acting, directing, writing, etc.?
Acting. I mean, first and foremost, I'm an actor. All the other stuff comes as a result of me not acting enough, not being busy enough. And I always like to keep myself busy and in pursuit of something. So, like in college or even after college, when I first started pursuing this professionally, if I wasn't getting enough roles, then I started writing roles and I started putting up those plays. And that's how I became a writer. And then you don't have enough money to necessarily hire everybody you want to hire. So you hire yourself. And that's how I started directing. And that's how I started doing lighting design and scenic design and all those other things I did out of necessity more than out of any sort of bigger want or need.
Yeah, it's very interesting. My third question is, I see you've done a lot of directing as well. Would you say you're better known for your directing or acting?
I'm probably still better known for my acting. The directing, like I said, is just, it's usually something that falls in my lap because there's not necessarily somebody else around to do it. And so I take on the responsibility, just like, a lot of the directing I've done is sketch comedy. And the reason that happened is because the director that taught me left, went on to pursue other things. And so there was nobody else really around to kind of take over. So I did. And I enjoy it. I like it. It's still creative. It's still fun. But I'd much rather be performing the stuff than directing.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. Moving on to The Amazing Spider-Man, what was it like being on The Amazing Spider-Man set, and did you get to talk to any of the cast?
I mean, the set was, it was quite a humbling experience from the beginning to the end, because the first day I walked on set, I walked on for I guess it was a costume test. They put me in the costume, and then this was actually in LA. It was on the Sony lot. I had to go there and I had to try on my costume, and they were trying some prop stuff out, and I walked onto one of the sets, and it was just, I mean, it's massive. It's a $250 million budget. Everything is just huge. But the great thing is you're walking through this huge set. You're seeing all these people. You're seeing all these stars. You're seeing everything to the top of the game, and you walk through it all, and there's just chaos and people running all over the place, and all this stuff happening. And the person that's leading you through takes you back to Video Village, where all the monitors are, and there's this guy just sitting there, laid back, feet kicked up. And the person that was walking me through goes, "Oh, Leif, this is Mark Webb, the director." And I said, "Hey, Mark." And he said, "Hey, Leif, nice to meet you." And that was our meeting. And I was like, "God, this guy's great." And that was kind of our relationship. He was just so laid back and so cool and so fun. And then, I mean, that was the same with the stars, with Andrew and Martin and everybody. They were just, it's hard not to enjoy yourself doing what you love, and thus most people are just great and gracious and happy to be there. So it's just a fun experience the whole way around.
Yeah, it's really cool. And do you have any upcoming movies or other projects you'd like to talk about?
I, I have a horror film that I shot at the beginning of this year that should be coming out later. There's another psychological thriller that I shot like a year and a half ago that finally might be getting released. It's just this industry, it's so hard to predict things. You do your work, you get off set, and you hope that everybody else follows through on things. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's hard to tell what exactly gets in front of the people at the end of the day.
Yeah. Thanks for answering my questions, Graham. Your questions.
Right. I've only got three. When we see the Uncle Ben killer storyline continued in the next movie, do you think the character will return? And like, if the character does return, would you reprise the role yourself?
Um, I can't really answer a lot of that stuff. I mean, of course, I don't know what the future of the character holds. And I would love to be a part of it. I mean, it's an exciting, thing to be a part of. It's an exciting franchise to be a part of. I grew up a huge comic book fan, so any opportunity to be a part of that world is, of course, a humbling, amazing experience. And to do such an iconic, important role was, just as awesome and just as amazing. So anything that they ever want me to do or ask me to do, I of course will be there.
Awesome. Question two is, did you go through any specific method or any measures when getting into character for the role?
No, not really. I mean, I do the same work I always do with every role I do, which is just, what you try to bring an honesty to the character and an understanding of the character that gives him as much human quality as possible. Like sometimes it's really easy, especially when it comes to comic book films sometimes, or even action films, or a lot of genre films, to play these two-dimensional ideals of what a character should be, and that's just not as interesting for an actor to do. So, and Mark helped a lot with this too, because the way the character was written in the script was a little bit different than what we presented on the screen, I think. And it was nice to have Mark there say, no, 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 let's do it this way. What does this guy want? What does he need? And give him that arc, so that it's not just some guy with a gun that shoots somebody and is proud of it and walks away and is just evil for evil's sake. So I just, like I said, I approach the character the same way I do with every character, which is, what's the honesty, what's he want, what's he need, and how does he go about getting it.
Of course. And my last question is, if you could be any other character in a future comic book movie, DC or Marvel or whatever, who would you be and why?
Oh my goodness. I grew up actually as a huge DC fan. Those were my books. That's not to say I didn't love Marvel, but Marvel came to me much later in life. It was when I went to college. My college roommate was a Marvel guy. I was a DC guy, so we spent, the next 4 years just trading books back and forth, which I'm forever grateful to him for making me do that, because it gave me an appreciation of Spider-Man, so that when I'm walking the red carpet answering questions about Spider-Man, I didn't have to lie about anything. I could actually be sincere and honest about this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's such an expansive universe in both worlds. I know I was really big into the darker line of comic books. Vertigo with DC. A lot of their titles. So Sandman. I was, this is weird, but I was a big Swamp Thing fan, for example. I grew up reading Swamp Thing, and then when Alan Moore came in and started writing for that series, it completely turned it on its head, and I don't know, it opened my world a little bit as far as what a character could be and how deep it could go, because he really kind of gave that character depth that I don't think anybody saw possible with that character. But then there's characters like Hellblazer and, anything in the Sandman line. I love Garth Ennis. I don't know, man. That's a damn tough question. What character would I want to be? I tell you what, if they ever finally get Preacher going, I'd love to be Jesse. You know, I think that would be a fun character to play. And I know there's been talks for a long time. There's been scripts written about putting Preacher on the big screen. There's been talks about making it into a TV series for HBO, but nothing's ever actually come of it. But yeah, playing Jesse would be a lot of
Very
fun.
interesting to see. Anyway, those are all my questions. Thanks very much. Dan, any questions?
Ooh, so it's my turn. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna keep it cool. I'm not gonna geek out. Whew. So yeah, you did all your stunts yourself, not like some stunt double or something.
Yeah, no, I did all my stunts myself. And, the way we originally shot the death scene for Uncle Ben was way different than what ended up in the film. That was a reshoot. So, yeah, in both versions, I did all my own stunts. They always hire somebody to come on set and do the stunts for you, but through my career, I've been fortunate and lucky enough to be able to, and I have training, so I've been able to just kind of say, I'll just do it myself because I feel like that's important when it comes to character work to do as much as you can with the character. Because like even for Andrew when he was on set, they have stunt guys for him, but for some stuff. But even the stuff that he wasn't performing in, when it was a stunt guy, he was right there, hands on, working with the stunt guy, saying, "No, I think it should be this way. This is how I would like to move," so that it brings a truer quality and a truer essence to the character throughout. So anytime I have the chance to do the stunts, I like to do them myself, even if it involves some risk. I enjoy it. I think it's fun.
Nice. So I'm gonna go deeper into geekdom. You said that it actually was different, the whole scene that you shot about the death of Uncle Ben, the outcome with Spider-Man. What was actually different? Did you shoot like some death scene like in the comics, or was it meant to be more gruesome?
No, I think ultimately what happened is it was a slower pace, the original death scene. Like it didn't happen on the street, it happened in an alleyway. It happened where Uncle Ben was looking for Peter, and instead he finds me after I've already done the robbery, and there's this miscommunication, and inadvertently he gets shot. So I'm sure what happened at the end of the day was they put it together and they looked at it and they were like, it just probably felt too slow. So they wanted something with a little bit more pace, a little bit more excitement to it, and so we reshot it the way we did.
Speaking of the comic, have you read the original story with your character, and what is your opinion on that book?
Yeah, I mean, I've done my research in all the incarnations of the character and the different books and the different way he's shown up, and it's tough because as a comic book fan, you want to be true to the source material, but that being said, this wasn't presented in the exact same way it was in any of the books, so you kind of have to make it your own. You kind of have to recreate it yet again and do it in this new and interesting way because it is a different medium. And that's what I think a lot of people forget sometimes is that, as much as I love comic books, you can't put a comic book directly on the screen and have it live and breathe and be its own thing. So it's always going to have some changes. There are always going to have to be some new interpretation of the material to keep the audiences interested. So I did the research, I studied the characters, and then I kind of left that burden behind. And I tried to do it my own way. And I think that was one of Mark's approaches as well, is that, we wanted to just tell our story while paying honor and respect to where the material came from.
Indeed. Yeah, it is hard to make something as iconic as Spider-Man lore, make it your own, because it's really hard not to go back to the original version sometimes.
It is, yeah.
I don't want to sound biased, but even though I love very much the Raimi versions of the Spider-Man universe, in my opinion, the scene and the whole situation from the death of Uncle Ben to the confrontation between Spider-Man and your character, I think was handled better by your movie because in the movie that you were in, because in Raimi's version they killed him off, which was really,
Yeah.
it's like okay. This brings me to two questions. One, Would you have preferred if, like in the comics and the Raimi movie, the original one, would you have liked to have some dramatic death scene?
Yeah, I mean that was one of the challenges, yet fun parts of the characters, that I don't have any lines. I don't speak any dialogue in any of my scenes. So yeah, and not to toot my own horn, but I am a good actor, and I do want the opportunity for people to discover that. So anytime I get more opportunity with something like that is better for me. Yes. So, but that's not to say that maybe is not in the future. The series isn't done. My character is not dead. He's still out there. So all that stuff still could be down the pike. Who knows?
Going back to the infamous Spider-Man 3, which people were not very happy about, it's interesting that the actor who played the burglar in the original movie returned to be the partner of the actual killer of Uncle Ben, who was Thomas Hayden
Yeah.
Church. Do you hope to have expansion on your role? How would you feel about that?
I mean, that would be awesome. I would, of course, would love to expand my role. However, I would go on record as saying I would like us to find a better way of doing that.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I think a lot of fans, and myself included, there was a little bit of disappointment in that, because it's almost like I'm very sensitive to audiences' needs and audiences' wants, and the way they ultimately did it was, hey, this thing we told you that you believed and you were so invested in, guess what? We were kidding. Aha, it was a joke. No, that wasn't Uncle Ben's killer. It was this other guy, and it's a little bit of
Kidding.
I don't know. It's just I think it's insulting to an audience in some way, because again, I love the original trilogy. I don't want to bash those movies too much, but just I think we can find a better way of doing it if there is my character's involvement in something, and it might not necessarily be that, because it's pretty clear cut. I shot him, I killed him. That we can't do the old switcheroo thing again.
Yeah.
So
But bringing him back would be really nice.
yes, I mean I think there's still a lot of unanswered questions with what's going on with the character. With Peter Parker included, and I have faith that they are going to answer most everything, by the end of the three films, because they are planning to do three films.
Oh yeah. Well, even though they're saying that they're gonna do 3 films, I hear things about Vulture and Rhino and Electro and Venom and Goblin being involved. That says to me like, whoa, that's more like 4 or 5 movies in my opinion to build up the Sinister Six or something, and just and 6 movies. Or I'm not saying that like to jinx it. Let's knock on wood. But like, there's a lot of room in 6 movies by 2 hours to bring your character back, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm looking at all the pictures online too, and seeing Paul Giamatti as a Rhino and all that stuff. Yeah, it all looks fun, and yeah,
Do you find?
I have as much faith.
Uh,
What the heck?
There is a nod towards bringing Rhino back though, because the video game was the epilogue of the movie, and Rhino was in it. So we could very well see Rhino in one of the next movies. In anyway,
but
No, he is. I mean, Paul Giamatti's Rhino in the next film.
oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, there's a picture from the set or something, I
there's a lot
think.
of pictures of
Yeah.
even with transformation and all. But okay, I'm not gonna say anything. But the thing is,
Okay.
we find it funny how Thomas Hayden Church and Paul Giamatti, who were in okay, this is obscure or maybe not so obscure, who are both uh, co-actors on Sideways. They were the lead actors on Sideways. Both became major Spider-Man villains who were actually partners in the comics too. I think
Yeah.
that was
No, it's
but
it's fun.
really really funny how. Speaking of Rhino and Sandman, I'm gonna stop geeking out. Final question: which is your favorite Spider-Man villain of all time? Sorry,
Yeah, I don't know. It's
it's hard. I know.
yeah, it is hard, because there's so many of them that bring so many different elements to things, and it, when they're written right, they're all interesting, and they all have. I mean, I've always gravitated towards the characters that have good backstories, that have good depth, and have good motivation behind the stuff they do. So and it seems like a lot of them always have that point, but there's something about Osborn just, having that relationship with Peter Parker, and it's the same with Batman and the Joker, and all these other iconic villains. It's that I think I think one of my favorite moments in a comic book ever was, and I can't remember if it was Dark Knight Returns or what it was, but at the end of it, the Joker and the Batman end up hugging, and it's like there's something about that they need each other. That there's this quality of life that they each wouldn't have without the other, and so when you can bring that to a quote unquote villain, it's always more interesting. So I guess I would probably pick Goblin just because they have that relationship that fuels their battles.
Nice. Really good choice. I usually gravitate myself towards Doc Ock, but bringing up
Yeah, Doc Ock's is good too. And that actually, Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite comic book films of all time.
mine too. Actually, it's my
Yeah.
most favorite. Even better than all the Marvel things that have come out since 2008. Just saying.
Yeah. But again, because the reason that film works so well, I think, and honestly, it's been a few years since I've watched it, but what impressed me the most and what I loved the most about it was just the emotional impact that the characters had on each other and how that caused them to act in the way that they did. Like there was a lot of emotion throughout that film, and that's what I think is so important. That up until this era, I think most films and TV shows and anything else that dealt with comic books, that's what they missed, is that it's about the relationships, it's about the emotion, it's about what fuels these characters and why they do what they do. It's not just because they have these powers, it's because they have these needs. It's because they have these wants, just like any other human, or for non-human characters, any other space alien.
Indeed. These are my questions. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And Leif, we also have one question from a Facebook follower for you. From Johnny Beggs. Are you a fan of the Amazing Spider-Man comic books?
Yeah, again, thanks to my roommate in college, I did get the chance to, read all those books, and I did fall in love with the character and and the writing. So yeah, I was a fan of all that stuff. When I booked the role, I did go back and refamiliarize myself with a lot of stuff, because it had been, a decade or so since I had read a lot of it. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there, and I miss those books in some ways.
Yeah, that's really cool, and thank you for answering all of our questions. It's been an honor having you on the podcast.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure, sir. Thank you for the, dare I say it, killing of Uncle Ben. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, let that be a lesson.
That's the soul.
Let that be a lesson to all the kids out there. Don't pick up a gun if you find one on the street.
Kids, don't try this at home.
Of course, a better way of putting it would have been to say thank you for being part of such an epic scene in the movie.
Well,
Yeah, to be honest, I think it was. Yeah, I mean, even like Andrew Garfield's reaction as Peter to
Oh yeah.
like, it was just so sudden, and just like it hits him like a ton of bricks, and like you can just see the emotion in his face as he kneels on the ground,
Yeah.
oh my God, what just happened?
Yeah, because like he knows it's his fault and all.
Exactly. It's just like it's not so much that his uncle was swiftly taken out of his life at such a young age. It was more, I did this, in a manner of speaking.
Yeah.
Andrew's great. I love him. He's a good kid.
yeah.
So anyway, Leif, thanks very much for being on the podcast, and hopefully we can speak to you another time.
Of course. Anytime you guys want.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Like I said, talk to you some other time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Yeah,
Should
anyway.
we move on to our next topic?
Yeah, next topic. And Dan, I know you've been waiting for this one for ever since I suggested it. So let's discuss our opinions on the Spider-Man movies we prefer. The original films with the Amazing Spider-Man, and the positive and negatives of both. So do either of you two want to go first? Because I don't really know what to say yet.
May I?
Yeah, go.
I personally, as much as I did love the original trilogy, apart from Emo Peter and his disco dancing moves, I did prefer The Amazing Spider-Man because it was kind of more comic book accurate, I suppose we could say, in a manner of speaking. And it had Gwen Stacy first instead of Mary Jane. And I just genuinely thought that the Peter was better. I genuinely thought from the moment that I saw the Amazing Spider-Man trailer, I just thought, this is Peter. This is Peter. I genuinely I didn't think Tobey Maguire, he was nerdy, but he was too nerdy. You know, in the first one, he was kind of just like, he wasn't just a nerd. He was kind of just like, he was that creepy guy in the corner, probably. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of creeped out at the fact that he was, I was kind of creeped out that he was looking over out his window at Mary Jane, you know.
To be fair, though, yeah, that is a bit creepy, but at the same time, remember at the start of The Amazing Spider-Man, I mean, come on, Peter was taking pictures of Gwen when she wasn't looking.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
creepy, too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
True,
actually,
true.
quality of
I
drama,
genuinely
man.
think
Yeah.
I think the interaction between the characters, there was more chemistry in The Amazing Spider-Man between all the other characters. The emotions were there. I mean, you know, there was points in the movie where, like, I cry at a lot of movies. There were points in the Amazing Spider-Man where I just wanted to start bawling on the floor. I mean, like, even right down to when, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it, but I'd be very insulted if anyone hasn't seen it. When Gwen shows up at Peter's doorstep and she has the umbrella, it's raining. The atmosphere just really sets the mood,
Yeah.
and you know, the little bit of interaction when Peter kind of just says, you know, yeah, sorry, can't be with each other. I mean, obviously, in the last scene that kind of changes a little, but still, you can see where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, just going slightly off topic here, I actually have to set the record straight on something. I don't hate Spider-Man 3. I actually enjoy it.
Oh no, yeah, most
For the
definitely.
most part. Yeah, I mean, I'm just putting out there because I mean, I see a lot of hate for Spider-Man 3, and I just want to put out there that I do actually like it for the most part. I mean, there are a few scenes, definitely, which I agree with Graham. Emo Peter Parker, just get him
Yeah.
out of there. I mean, I absolutely love that scene.
I just want to start playing the Bee Gees every time I see him doing the freaking like 80s dance moves across, like, you know, just
Napier.
Yeah, I mean, those scenes were just so awkward. I mean, and anyway, going back to one of your original points, Graham, about Tobey Maguire. I mean, at the start, I did like him. To be honest, I thought in Spider-Man's 1 and 2 he was good, but then the more he was in the role, you know, the older he got as an actor. Really, I just felt he didn't, you know, act so comfortable in the role. If you get what I'm
yeah, he
saying.
did look very, very uncomfortable. I mean, even in the crying scenes, which I know he does a lot of, and it is a very amazing skill as an actor to just,
Yeah.
you know, cry on cue like that. But I mean, it just didn't look comfortable, and like he didn't have the same chemistry with Kirsten Dunst that Andrew Garfield would have had with Emma Stone. You know, it just wasn't happening to me.
Well, to be fair, and I have to correct you on something. There. I mean, it's easier for Andrew and Emma because they're actually engaged. You know.
Actually, well,
Are they?
are they?
Yeah, they are. Well, maybe not engaged, but they live together. I know that much.
Yeah,
And at the very least, in a relationship.
but I
Maybe
think
not
that
engaged, but
I think that's
Yeah, but the thing is, their relationship in Amazing Spider-Man wasn't really like they weren't really properly
well.
like saying that they were kind of going out per se, and then they kind of had to split up at the end. You know, I'd say that would have been very hard for them to do if they like each other that much in real life.
yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel the love with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. It just wasn't there for me.
Okay, the thing.
Although the movies were really good, I'm with you there, Rory. I do like the original movies as well.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan, and agreeing with Dan from earlier on with Spider-Man 2. I mean, Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, they couldn't have picked anyone better, personally.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Anyway, Dan, we've been depriving you. You can say something now.
One of the things. It's a character for Spider-Man to be a voyeur and just to look over creepy at people. Secondly, Gwen Stacy, yes, better than Kirsten Dunst. I could agree about that because I have the hots for Gwen Stacy and Emma Stone. Emma, But I love Emma Stone ever since Zombieland. So basically, it's
Amazing movie.
because of Amazing Spider-Man. But the second movie of Spider-Man, the Raimi versions, is actually my vision for a perfect comic book movie about such a character. Because, yeah, you can never make Spider-Man like The Dark Knight and make it grounded into reality, because it's a guy who sticks to walls and, yeah, fights villains like the Lizard and Doc Ock and all the others. The thing is, The Amazing Spider-Man, I didn't care for the Lizard, because he was pretty basic. Let's take over the world. I don't know why I'm gonna turn anything into lizards. Spoilers, if that's saying something. Yeah, I'm all over like villains with all megalomania and all not. In my opinion, so far they show that actually the Raimi villains are more personal because sure, Doc Ock tried to kill the entire city almost unwillingly by accident. Oops. Still, I think he was just in the moment. He was like, whoa, I can create this. And he didn't realize he was going to kill half of New York. But the lizard knew he was going to create an entire race of freaking lizards. And it was pretty generic. And the look, yeah, it is closer to the original version, but it looks silly, especially in the school when Peter throws that chemistry set at him. He basically looks like he's, yay, I'm smiling. It's like you're a giant, free 3 meter tall lizard. You shouldn't be smiling. You should be scary. And I felt like I was gonna laugh at the lizard. The threat value was higher with Sandman and Doc Ock, especially Doc Ock. God, Alfred Molina was amazing as a villain for Spider-Man because he had that gravitas. He was emotional. He was everything that the lizard should have been, but wasn't, and especially plus the cool design. I mean, those tentacles did not need intellect. But so did the lizard did not need a scheme to turn everybody in New York into lizards. He could have just done this to cure himself, get rich, or something like that, or like some deeper meaning. I mean, heck, there are so many plots. In the end, I mean, the lizard started out well. I'm sorry for dwelling on the villains, but I'm a villains fan. I'm sorry. I apologize, Rory, Graham, listeners. I'm very sorry. I'm a villains fan. I'm gonna drool over a villain a lot. But
Well, being a villain fan is nothing to be ashamed of.
I mean, and in the end, became just as corny as Goofy Green Goblin in the middle of the first Spider-Man movie. Still, it's very interesting that they're actually taking the route that expanding on the parents because the parents of Peter Parker really omitted in the original.
That's what I really liked about the Amazing Spider-Man, the way they brought the parents in, even if it was only for a few minutes.
Yeah, it showed the backstory.
Did we really need almost a decade later being actually a decade later of movies, but actually decades, a lot of decades of being exposed to Spider-Man to actually see the origin story again and not just being thrown in right away into the mix?
To be fair, though, I mean, it wouldn't really make sense for, new people watching if they didn't, show him, getting bit and all that.
Oh, I mean, heck, let's say the Clone Wars. I mean, I know it's random to put it, but they threw us in the middle of a war, and most of us, those who didn't hate on the Clone Wars just because it retconned things, ruined canon or whatnot and stuff, we got sucked into that because eventually the show, with building up, made us care about the individual characters more and more.
I can totally see where you're coming from with your point, but you see, the thing is, when a director reboots a franchise, he or she will want to put their own little take on that universe.
Yeah, exactly.
So they wanted it to happen differently. They wanted him to get bitten differently, rather than it just kind of being on a school trip, whoops, happens. It happened in more of a sort of curious, clumsy fashion. And I can see why you would think that it was a little bit unnecessary. But I think it's also safe to say that it was necessary, not just to us, but for the director to have their own creative take on it. I mean, not every director makes the movie for the fans. What I'm trying to say is the director will make the movie for themselves because they are fans of the franchise and they want to see things in a different sort of perspective, if that makes any sense at all.
It does.
Yeah.
one of the best aspects of the Amazing Spider-Man was that the characters sounded more human. Sure, Peter Parker really spazzed out a lot. I mean, especially at times at school. Dude, you have Emma Stone drooling over you, and you're a geek. And he's like twitching like he has some neck syndrome or something. It's like he has that parakeet move of the head like a pigeon. And I said, dude, why? Just stand still, play it cool. I know it sounds stupid from my end, but still, yeah, Tobey Maguire was also a loser in the movies, but he didn't like act crazy, kind of. In the first one, at least, he was, yeah, he was creepy, as Graham said, with the Windows thing. But God, I mean, okay, I think another reviewer also pointed out this. Freaking Peter Parker had Gwen Stacy as a desktop. That is creepy.
Yeah,
That was funny.
I can now see why that's a little bit messed up.
That's creepy.
But
That's
as for
like,
the twitching thing, I can see why that's annoying, but also I think they were just trying to get across the fact that he was clumsy. But
yeah.
honestly, I do agree with you.
I thought it was good acting, on Andrew Garfield's part when he was doing all that, though.
Yeah, I felt he was really getting into character and whatnot. It was a little bit annoying after a little while. He looked like he had really bad ADHD or something like that, couldn't stand still, which he could have done, I don't know. The thing is, it did annoy me a little bit. I can see why you would be annoyed, but I think that's just what happens when an actor gets into a character.
Well, at least towards the end of the movie, he still had better chemistry with his partner than,
Yes.
for instance, Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire. The emotional factor is deeper. The creepy factor is deeper. I don't know where to go actually with this, except that the desktop thing still was creepier than creepy. And one of the
Yeah.
stupid things was that if Ishran Khan was it the Iranian?
Yeah, that one.
He went nowhere. He was like, "Yes, I will poison people or something." Dude, why?
My main annoyance with that character, though, was, after the lizard attacks him in the taxi, we never hear from that character again, like,
And
completely gone. And we didn't even see him die either. He just
exactly.
completely disappears.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna walk away and grab my check and go home to my family.
exactly. And again, I do see that happening because Mr. Khan said he did this role mainly because of his children, I think. That's why in an interview he said that his children, I mean, who wouldn't be a fan of Spider-Man, are fans of the comic, and they said, Daddy, you should do it. I think something along the lines of that. So I kind of understand that he was in the movie for how much Mark Webb wanted him. The scenes on the bridge was awesome. It really, again, like a lot of other things from this movie, reminded me of the first Raimi movie with the other scene on the bridge.
We could debate this forever.
We know what you're talking about. We know what you're talking about. Anyway.
Yeah.
I know that my objections to Amazing Spider-Man are like chaotic. I'm sorry, but that is how my love of the Spider-Man movies is, and I still love the second Raimi movie more than this one. I mean, I'm hoping for the second Amazing Spider-Man to be even more amazing and maybe be the most amazing Spider-Man movie, but still, I love the second one more.
Well, I can understand that from your perspective because you're a villain fan, and the villain was more captivating, more, you'd be more something you'd be more interested in.
Everything you said was valid. Andrew Garfield was amazing. Actually, the cast is amazing. That's what I want to say. Even though I love the previous movies a lot, especially Sandman, I just love Thomas Hayden Church as Sandman. But the cast in the new movie was amazing. Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben is the best casting of Uncle Ben I could have ever seen. I mean, he is the best actor they could have picked for Uncle Ben, especially when he just makes fun of Peter and just like basically.
Sorry to cut across you, but I just like how now I'm just thinking. I love how Uncle Ben actually started telling Gwen that he had.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
Yeah.
It's like,
He's got you on his computer. But one actual question I've got for the both of you, and I'll give my opinion on it in a moment, but if you had to pick maybe one or two what you consider poor casting choices in any of the Spider-Man movies, which would you pick from any of them?
Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire.
And two.
Tobey Maguire.
Okay. So you pick Tobey Maguire, like that's it.
Tobey Maguire. Just. I have my reasons, and I'm not going to talk about my reasons because I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to stop. So yeah, we just might as well move on. Tobey Maguire.
Okay, 2. Okay, Rory. That's a conundrum. Give me an hour. I'm
Okay.
still here.
So, do you want?
Thinking.
Have you got one?
Okay, I have. Okay, Graham, you have still one choice of poor casting. While I'm.
Oh, one more choice of poor casting. I don't think I actually have any other specific complaints about the casting so much as some wacky stuff that kind of happened in between. You know, I didn't like, in Spider-Man 3 when they brought Gwen Stacy in randomly. I thought that was a bit cheap, and the character, the person that they cast as Gwen Stacy, her performance was good for the character that she was made into the script, but she wasn't the Gwen Stacy from the comic books.
Yeah.
That's the Gwen Stacy that I'd have grown up with reading the comic.
They didn't use the character all well, and I have to actually admit that was one of my two. So, Dan, do you have any, or do you want me to name my other?
Oh, I have to. Still think that the Lizard Boys, Rhys Ifans, the Irish guy from that Sandler movie, he was a poor choice for the Lizard. I'm sorry. That's one. That's one of the weaker. I'm chewing the scenery. Willem Dafoe to him. Okay. Next choice would be. Am I the only one who's disappointed that we didn't see him in the leading role or something like something bigger? Like eating up the scenery as well? Okay, that's just me.
I recognize the name. I remember reading his Internet Movie Database profile. And you're right. I do remember that he was in all three, and it wasn't major roles. But I can't remember for the life of me what those minor roles were.
Tell you, he was in Spider-Man 1. He was the announcer at the wrestling match. In the second one, he was the bouncer at the theater, and the third one. Where did? Oh, he was the guy who was at the crowd. I think during the fight with Sandman. I think he was there. I'm not sure. I actually remember little of the side things except Sandman in Spider-Man 3. But, and the other poor choice, Venom in Spider-Man 3. Weakest choice for Venom. Because
he was good for Eddie Brock, but he wasn't good for Venom.
No. He was horrible because, okay, if anything they could have twisted was because, God, you have J. Jonah Jameson's son played by the amazing J.K. Simmons. Oh, he was amazing. I'm going to kill you with lemons, J.K. Simmons. Okay, they have his son who is actually left at the altar because of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Who better? He's built. He could play Venom. Who better to play Venom in the third one? No, they go with that 70s show kid. God.
I can see why you wouldn't like him, but personal preference, I enjoyed his performance. I just don't like how they took away the scary Venom face.
Yeah, I know, but they could have made it like more of a rivalry.
I thought he played Eddie Brock, in my opinion.
Yeah. One question: which Aunt May do you prefer?
That is actually just so coincidental. My other one I wasn't happy with the casting choice was actually Aunt May in The Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know. I mean, Graham, you like the Spider-Man characters more than me. Was Aunt May, supposed to be like that? Because I really preferred, easy, happy-going self to a, kind of drenchy, challenging.
It was an interesting take on it, but I mean, I wouldn't say that it was a problem with the cast. I mean, I actually enjoyed her performance.
I think saying that it was a bad casting choice wasn't quite, right, but I just didn't really enjoy the direction of the character.
Yeah, that can be that can be. But you see, I liked how the one from the Sam Raimi movies, it was more comic book accurate to how she was portrayed in the comic books. Nevertheless, I think the Amazing Spider-Man version was a good performance. However, it wasn't at peak standard.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought, in the original Spider-Man films, she was Aunt May was just like really nice, never, and on the well, not really, but on the rare occasion she was a bit, angry with Peter. It wasn't like excessive,
It
but
was
with
more it was more like a moral like it
yeah,
wasn't getting angry. It was a moral outrage, I suppose we could use that. Uh,
well, outrage kind of sounds worse than what I would have said, but
like
yeah,
yeah, it was like it was more like okay, moral reasoning, except
yeah.
abruptly and
Well,
slightly
okay.
raised voices.
So anyway, are you both ready to move on to another topic?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Go.
So for our last topic for tonight, as we all know, it was E3. So, there was a lot of, gaming reveals. And of course, Graham and Dan, both much bigger gamers than me. But no, there are a few cool games that we'll bring up. First of all, the obvious one to bring up, first of all, Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh
So,
my God, yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
By the way, Graham, seeing as you've been out all day, I doubt you actually heard the sort of new news article regarding Battlefront.
No, I have not. I was too
Yeah,
busy watching Man of Steel.
someone from, I think it was DICE, it might have been EA as a whole, though, but whoever it was actually said that, they're trying not to make it like Battlefield, but not in the bad sense. They're trying to make it its own game. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
they don't want it to be too similar to make it feel like they're copying both
Yeah, I mean, they
games.
want to, like, as any gaming developer would, they want to make their next project like respectful to the classic, but at the same time try and bring in something new and fresh. But I mean, it would be a fool's errand to it would be a fool's idea to try and integrate it with Battlefield completely. Which I mean, I'm not saying they are doing that. I'm just saying that it would be a stupid idea if they did. And I'm kind of glad that that Battlefront is in capable hands because DICE are very, very good at creating atmosphere, and they are very, very good at making something entertaining and making something worthwhile paying for. But like I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually really pumped for the next Battlefront. I think it's
Yeah,
in capable hands.
yeah, it'd be great for the new Battlefront to come out. Just we might have to wait a while. Probably, I'd say maybe late 2014, like when Rebels is coming out, the TV
Yeah, that would
show.
make more sense. It would be kind of
Yeah,
like it would be it would conjoin.
It's like the Blu-ray releases of the movies coinciding with the Clone Wars release of season 4's premiere on the 16th of September.
yeah, that
Ah,
does make sense, definitely.
okay, but one thing about the Battlefront thing that I'm hoping that they really don't do it like Battlefield, because as much as people love these games, they can be pretty repetitive. Because I'm sorry, Black Ops and I know this is a different series, but I'm sorry, Call of Duty, all the Modern Warfare ones, Black Ops, whatever, and especially the Battlefield ones, they're so similar. This is my problem with these things. I mean, and that's why the only reason people are so fond of this, not because of the single player storyline, which is basically not that great. Yeah, it's amazing stuff. No, it's pretty generic. It's generic wartime story. So basically, if
Yeah,
DICE are making this, I hope they hire a better writer than the ones for Modern Warfare. Or if they do the Battlefront thing and they begin with 8 hours earlier, but they begin with like a Battle of Hoth and then like 8 hours earlier, Invader's Base. It's like, I'm sorry, you did that already several times. Please stop.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
My main problem
yeah.
nowadays is that they don't focus on the story too much. I mean, the main reason that I buy a video game is because I want a good story.
yeah, but to be honest with you, I mean, this is why I kind of keep edging, getting away from gaming, is because, I think the fan base,
Is
well, some of them like us, we actually care about story, but a lot of the fans of video games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, they just want it for the multiplayer, something like that. They don't even care for the storyline. And I'm not saying that the writers and producers, whoever, aren't trying to make a good storyline, but some of the fan base just don't even give the storyline a chance. They don't care for it. I mean, which frustrates me a bit. And get to your point, Stan, I will grant you this. Modern Warfare series, yeah, that was definitely repetitive. I mean, the missions themselves, I mean, aside from a fair, only a couple or so in all of the games, there wasn't really many missions I liked, but I disagree on Black Ops. I thought that was a great storyline, and I thought only got better in Black Ops 2. Yeah. And this was with me originally hating Black Ops 2 as well. When I got it, I liked it. Well, rented it, so to speak, you know.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I'm not gonna respond to that. So next, next on the list.
Oh, coincidentally, we've got Call of Duty.
No freaking way. Ah.
Move on.
Okay, I'm just gonna say my point first, if that's okay, and then I'm not gonna talk anything about the topic because I'm a little bit. Rory knows I'm a little bit mad at the moment at Call of Duty, so I'm just gonna keep my point, straight, well, to the point. The only thing so far that seems okay about Ghosts is the story seems from the trailer a little bit different. I loved the little narrative that went on in the trailer, and two, you're able to use a dog. I love dogs. That's
Oh,
it.
yeah,
Take it away.
that was pretty cool.
Yes, because if something has shown that atomic bombs are best stopped by dogs. Okay, well, I don't know.
You know what I'd love to see from a Call of Duty? I'd love to see from the quote unquote enemy's perspective. I want to see
You want to
people.
dark?
I want to see like an Afghanistan sort of version of if they're going to keep to Modern Warfare. I'd like to play as maybe an Afghan soldier, or if they want to bring it back to World War II, I want to see what it's like to play as
Okay,
a Nazi or something like that,
okay,
or a Japanese
Yeah.
soldier.
okay.
Yeah, I would definitely just prefer if they went back to World War II, but I still am pretty happy with some of their recent, releases.
Seriously, I don't know if the United States of America, citizens of the United States would like to play as the Taliban.
Look, what I'm trying to get across here is that I mean, they're being biased to their views, and you know what? They have rights to their views and all that. But I mean, what I don't like the way that they're pointing them out to be the enemy too much. I mean, at the end of the day, some of the Nazis were.
Graham.
No, no, please, let me finish.
Yeah, go on.
At the end of the day, most of the Nazis were people taking over day. That's what maybe a Taliban would be like. And it would be very interesting to see that integrated, or maybe even be a Taliban soldier or something like that, being led by a dictator. Like, I mean, being led by a very evil, so to speak, leader, like that one level in what was it, in Black Ops 1 when you play as Reznov, and like you can see the corruption within your own squad and all that sort of stuff. I'd like to see a storyline based around that, even, from like a quote unquote enemy's perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they do have to integrate your commanding officer as someone who isn't a very good person, that doesn't mean that the Americans pointing the guns at the Taliban are any different. I don't want to go into politics here at all. I mean, this is a geeky stuff podcast, but I gotta leave it at that.
Thing is, though, that's what I liked about Black Ops 2 a bit. I mean, we didn't really see it complete from the soldier's perspective, but we did get to play as the main villain in a few missions, Menendez.
Exactly, yeah. I mean,
thought that was
there was a level as Menendez when you were going around macheting people, and you played as someone like you played as someone who was like Menendez's like right hand man for like a level or two, wasn't it?
Yeah, DeFalco.
For me, Call of Duty died after they stopped doing World War II stuff because they were really exceptional. I loved the first two games. Oh my god, they're amazing. I'm sorry because because they tried to illustrate and portray existing events, not like Battlefield and Call of Duty now, like random attack there, random Middle East battle there. No. Like in Call of Duty 2, you had like D-Day, which was really spectacularly done.
That was really well put together level.
I have to agree though. I mean, my favorite from Call of Duty would definitely be the originals because they focus on World War II. Really, that's what I liked about the first Black Ops as well. It was events that did happen in the Cold War. But but then in Black Ops 2, I mean, I still really like Black Ops 2, but I remember when the first trailer came out and I saw the, words, Sergeant Frank Woods, the Vault 2025, and I was like, wait, what happened to the Cold War? And then I started raging at Black Ops 2 until I found out that the Cold War was still a part of it, just, earlier missions, and they were all connected, I thought that was okay, but, at first I was raging about Black Ops 2 because of that. Yeah, but getting back to Ghosts, of course, because that's what we're meant to talk about. I did see, I did watch the two gameplay videos from E3, Into the Deep and No Man's Land, I think they were called. I thought they were okay. I think Into the Deep, it was really well. The graphics were really good. I mean, you could really feel, the sea creatures, coming up close more than ever. Actually, it felt more, powerful as they just went by, if you get what I'm saying. You probably don't.
What I like was the little mechanic where as you're underwater, you're swimming, and like as you're getting close to the fish like swim away real fast. I thought that was a very well put together feature. I mean, in general, as it was, and like it does look interesting at the very least, but I'm not completely wowed by it.
Yeah. Well, of course, there's still a long way to go, but the fact is, when the first trailer came out, I was like, what am I watching? It didn't even,
I got a little bit worried for a second because I genuinely thought they were going to start going back to, like, I thought they were going to start doing swords and shields and stuff like that. I was getting a little
I know, yeah, I know, right, because for the whole time, until the very last shot of the Ghost trailer, the first trailer, I was just like, this doesn't look like Call of Duty at all, and then the very last shot did, and I was like, that was awful. But now with the more recent gameplay videos and hearing news and behind the scenes stuff, I'm not completely convinced, but I'll give it a go, sure. I mean, I thought I was going to hate Black Ops 2, gave it a go, and ended up really liking it, so I might as well give Ghosts a go as well. It could be really good.
At the very least, I might rent it. Or
that's what I mean, because, as you know, I don't buy games anymore, unless they're really reduced prices, I just rent them. One thing I do have to give, the people behind Call of Duty credit for nowadays, though, is they're really, trying to get good stories in, they're bringing in good big writers from movies and all, maybe not big, but, writers who have worked on movies, like Graham, you of course know this, on Black Ops 2, they got a writer from The Dark Knight Rises who wrote most of the script. Yeah, they had a writer from The Dark Knight Rises on it.
Well, The Dark Knight Rises, yeah.
I thought, it might have been The Dark Knight. So long since I watched the trailer that said that I forgot, but no, that was pretty good. And then in one of the more recent trailers, they were talking about the emotion and saying that they got a specific writer from this emotional film or something to specifically write the emotional parts or whatever. Particularly make Ghost an emotional story.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say, but at the end of the day, it could be just a marketing gimmick. It usually is.
Yeah. Well, it is. I don't know. Graham, don't take this as an attack, but because it really isn't. But if they said for Halo that they were getting in a Dark Knight writer, wouldn't you be, kind of?
I'd actually be a little annoyed, to be honest, because he's not he doesn't strike me as a sci-fi writer, and Halo's a sci-fi game. But if they got someone like Ridley Scott or something like that to write it up, or if they got someone like dare I say it, even J.J. Abrams or something like that, if they got a sci-fi director or a sci-fi writer to do it, then yeah, I can be inclined to agree. But I don't know. It's just I'm not hating on Call of Duty too much. I do like the original games. I just don't like the most recent ones, as we clarified earlier on. But I mean, I just don't like the way it's turning into a marketing gimmick. Even if I don't like the way they blatantly announce it in the trailer just to try and get people to buy it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, to be fair, there's one thing really that we do have to say in Call of Duty's favor, and this is towards Infinity Ward's favor really as well. You know, when they first announced Ghost, they specifically said we were thinking of making Modern Warfare 4, and you know what? That would have been the easy thing to do. So we thought, no, screw Modern Warfare. We're gonna make a new storyline, and we're gonna make it just in time for the next generation consoles. You know, that's right. They could have taken the easy way out and make another Modern Warfare, which would have made any sense really.
Essentially, it is a type of Modern Warfare, but nah.
No, it's not. I don't know. Well, we have to wait and see until it comes out, but I don't really think it is as such, in my opinion. We'll see, though.
You see, Call of Duty is very. I'm on a very 50-50 basis with it. It's like, to really get me to play one nowadays, it's really a flip of the coin. And to be honest, Halo 4 I found was a little bit underwhelming myself as well, because, I mean, I don't know, it felt sort of like an original Halo game, but at the same time, it didn't. I mean, I was a little bit wary because Bungie handed it over to 343 Industries, but I mean, you know, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not on the very kind of like COD versus Halo argument. I do like both franchises, but I mean, it's just not working for me anymore. If anything, like.
Yeah. Well, to be fair though, the more any franchises, no matter what it is, video games, movies, TV shows, the more they go on, the more they'll struggle for ideas, really.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Graham, are you excited for Halo 5?
Kind of. Like I said, Halo 4 was very underwhelming. 343 did the best that they could with it. All I'm going to say in regards to 343, fix Forge, please. Fix the goddamn Forge. And that's all I really have to say in that regard towards it. I really do want to see a more progression with the Master Chief story, because in Halo 4 they did give him more dialogue and they made him a little bit more human. And the trailer does open up quite a lot of questions. The only thing that I really have to say is, in the trailer, why was he wearing cloaks if he was in full battle armor? I mean, I know it's sand gets everywhere.
Yeah,
this is battle armor.
Yeah, I actually have to have a confession to make, Graham. I actually watched that trailer, and the whole time I watched it, I only had one question on my mind. Do you want to know what?
Why was he wearing the cloaks?
It's very similar. What I was actually wondering was, why does it look like he's wearing a Jedi cloak?
Yeah, I thought that as well myself. Like, all I was thinking was, these aren't the droids you're looking for the entire time I was watching the trailer. I mean, what I did like, though, it opened a lot of questions in terms of, like, why is Chief holding Cortana's... spoiler alert, for those of you who haven't played Halo 4, I'm going to give you a few seconds to fast forward a bit. Why was Chief holding, like, Cortana's broken data chip when he knew that she was deteriorated and gone? You know, is he opening the question that she could possibly be brought back? But at the same time, I'm a little bit annoyed at that. Why would they get rid of her in Halo 4 only to try and bring her back in Halo 5? It's just, it doesn't make sense. It's actually a little bit stupid. I'm not gonna lie. However, I hope, to be honest, that she doesn't come back, because I would actually feel a little bit more of an impact if he went through all that trouble to find, well, his friend back. I mean, I know she's only a computer system in some regards, but like, I think I'd feel more of an impact if Chief went through all that trouble to try and bring her back, but knew that it was a fool's errand, that it couldn't be done. But even then, I mean, this is only a teaser trailer. There is more to be seen, and I am quite excited to see what they can produce. But to be honest, I'm still in a very 50-50 situation with 343. I thought at first, initially, that it was in capable hands, but I was a little bit disappointed with Halo 4, and I hope that 343, I don't mean to be rude or anything, I hope they learned the goddamn lesson.
Anyway, I'm sure you both are excited for this next game, and Batman Arkham Origins.
Oh my god.
What do you both?
I saw the E3 gameplay. I am quite impressed. I was rather hoping for a continuation of Arkham City, but I mean, I'm just kind of glad that we're now finally getting a fully blown map of Gotham City, rather than exploring Arkham or exploring Arkham City, which was, in its defense, part of Gotham City. But, I'm glad that we're finally getting a fully free roam, full version of Gotham City in itself. And that alone is enough for me. And I'm quite impressed with the addition of the random street crimes that happen. It will make you feel more and more like the Dark Knight himself, because it's in his second year of crime fighting. He's still a little rusty, so you are going to have to take down the odd crook or two to make people afraid of you. And as for the voice acting situation, a lot of people were annoyed that Kevin Conroy isn't coming back to voice Batman for this game, but he did let slip that he is going to be doing another Arkham game that's set after Arkham City, possibly. But I am actually confident with this other voice actor. He voiced Chris Redfield in the Resident Evil series. He voiced, I think, Sonic the Hedgehog as well. And he voiced Ezio Auditore da Firenze in Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations, I believe.
So he's definitely a big video game voice actor.
He is to me anyway. I think he's very good. He is a very talented individual, and I am quite excited to see more news to Batman Arkham Origins. In fact, I'm actually going to recommend a YouTube channel, Batman Arkham Videos. They have quite a number of news topics in regard to the future Arkham games. You should check it out if you're an Arkham City fan, if you're an Arkham fan. And that's all I really have to say in that regard.
So, Dan?
The voice acting, I was a little skeptical because it's not Kevin Conroy, but as Graham explained, sure, it's a younger Batman. Even though I'm not sure what does Graham mean by, he has to make his mark on the world since he's new to the thing. Even though in the AI in the original games was never afraid of me. I mean, for God's sakes, they see that I pummeled 20 people into dust, and they say, "Get the Batman!" It's like, dude, I'm gonna do that to you too. So basically, the AI of the enemy in the regular Arkham game was actually never afraid of me, so it's not much of a change. The main change is that it's not Rocksteady, which is a little, visually, a little... I hope it doesn't change, but like with Graham's Halo series, when it's passed from the original company to a different company just to continue on the series, it might lose some of its touches, maybe not visually, but maybe story. I hope not. I love that I see Joker back, maybe. I don't want him to be the focus because, for God's sakes, we have Black Mask. Bane looks cool, even though I prefer the luchador crazy person from Arkham Asylum.
Oh, yes.
And of course, especially Deathstroke. Never been a fan of the character. Cool, but yeah, they're bringing a lot of things back. But again, maybe I cannot wait to see because this is a prequel. Maybe the other thing that they're talking about that Kevin Conroy was gonna be in is maybe the sequel, maybe Arkham World, like Joker teased back in the day. I hope. So, but I'm optimistic. The game really looks interesting, and Penguin is also, I think, back. So,
yeah,
looks like a fun
turn.
Awesome. So basically, you have me 6 villains already. So thank you. Just keep them up. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Yeah, so far I've heard no bad news in terms of Arkham Origins because I am quite confident about the other voice actors. I was, once again, a little bit upset about even Mark Hamill not returning as the Joker, but, it is as me and Dan were saying, they are a younger version of them. And Troy Baker, also another very talented voice actor. And
I know him.
Yeah, he is very, very talented. Last thing I'm going to say in regard to Batman Arkham Origins, cannot wait.
Yeah, surprisingly, even though I know he's been in a few Star Wars works, actually, I first heard Troy Baker, in Brothers in Arms. He's been voicing the main character in that video game series. That was, Troy Baker. He voiced Sergeant Matt Baker, the main character. Yeah, it probably is actually the best World War II video game out there. And really, I think what makes it so good as well. All these other, games, Battlefield, Call of Duty, Medal of Honor now as well, they've all gone away from their roots. They're now, doing modern stuff. Brothers and Arms is still sticking to World War II. And lastly, Battlefield 4. Well, lastly, unless either two of you have any others have been up, but Battlefield 4.
It looks good multiplayer-wise. I haven't looked too far into it, so I don't really have much to say. What about you, Dan?
Oh, okay. Battlefield 4. Visually, it doesn't cease to amaze. But again, if you throw me into the middle of a Battlefield or a Modern Warfare game, and if this one is also set in the Middle East, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna miss it. Because as not a hardcore first-person shooter or a fan of Call of Duty or Battlefield, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna mistake which game I'm playing, because both the Black Ops and all these games are really similar in terms of gameplay. Yeah, they have tweaks and things that I know the hardcore gamers are gonna point out and just kill me over. But if you're a casual gamer who just loves to play mainly Star Wars games and not these first-person things, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be lost. Rory's gonna lie to me. He's gonna say, "Look, Dan, maybe I was gonna tell you you're gonna play Battlefield 4, but actually this is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 6."
What?
And I'm gonna say,
but
just saying that.
Yeah.
Say me, I'm not gonna question you. I'm gonna just say it's the new one, and then you say, "Psych! No, it isn't. It's Black Ops 2."
But they're not even. I'm not even going to point out that they're not making any more for Modern Warfare. Thank God.
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from. He's using it as an example, obviously.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I agree with Dan on this point. I mean, it all is very, in terms of Modern Warfare shooters, it's very copy-paste, and they throw in the odd feature every now and then. But, visually, from what I've seen, it looks acceptable. It looks really, really good visually. But I want a good story.
Yeah, I saw some of the gameplay video for Battlefield 4, the 17-minute one. I thought it looked okay. Wasn't really wowed by anything, though, to be honest. Yeah.
I hope they're not doing the Middle East. I hope they go somewhere else. But one thing that I loved about the Battlefield 3 game was its tank gameplay. The moments when you play with a tank. That was really awesome.
Yeah, I like the vehicle perspective in Battlefield, but I'm inclined to agree with you on that.
So are there any other games that had a presentation or something at E3 that you want to bring up?
Actually, yes. Are either of you aware of the online MMORPG called World of Tanks? Or at least
one of my good friends plays World of Tanks and says it's quite fun.
It is, yeah. I've played it once or twice. It's very good. It's finally coming on the Xbox 360 on the arcade. I'm actually looking forward to it. I mean, it looks half decent. It's kind of catering to people if they don't like particularly using PC games, then they can kind of do it on the Xbox. Or I think it might be coming to PS3. I'm not too sure. Don't hold me to that. I do know for certain that it was shown at E3 on the Xbox 360. Anything else that I would have known from E3? Apparently some. If any of you are fans of Achievement Hunter, they showed some fishing game or something. I don't know, but that's not particularly interesting to me. But I haven't got much to say about E3 releases announced. But recently I downloaded a game called State of Decay. It's like a zombie simulation. It's very similar to DayZ mod on Arma 2, if you've heard of that. But I mean, it's good. I recommend it. It's very interesting because it's at the start of the infection as well, so no one really knows what's going on. So it's very interesting to see how the characters react to certain situations. And I gotta admit, this is like the Walking Dead game that we never got. I mean, the Telltale game is amazing, which for the record, there is actually a new DLC for Season 1 coming out. Just thought I'd throw that out there. The actual the State of Decay is like the action Walking Dead game that we never got to see because Survival Instinct was very underwhelming in my opinion. But yeah, it's like I've had moments where if either of you seen the first episode of Walking Dead, Rick goes into Atlanta on the horse, he turns the corner thinking it's a safe place, and there's a cluster bomb of zombies, and he runs away. That happened to me in the game. I was in the main city, turned the corner, massive horde, had to run for it. It's very heart pounding. It is a very, very good game.
You have intrigued me, sir. Oh, this sounds. Oh, okay. I have to. I have to find this now. Ooh.
Well, I certainly recommend State of Decay because there is this other amazing feature which I won't ramble on too much about because we're probably running out of time.
Okay.
This other feature called permadeath, where you actually get a couple of characters and a couple of NPC characters throughout the game. If that character dies, they're gone. They are never seen again. But as your next character, you can then find their backpack, and then you're after scavenging for the stuff for a while. You can actually get that back.
So basically, that's like it's more impactful but it reminds me of Zombie U because I think Zombie U did also something like that when
Yes.
you play as a character and you died and then your previous character is a zombie and they have to bash his head in. I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening to me. I've been on a bloodlust all night. I'm sorry.
Anyway, Rory, do we have any more topics left, or?
No, we don't. But I just have to say one last thing, kind of amusing thing left on E3. I was reading through a list of the games that had, presentation, gameplay, trailers, whatever shown at E3, and I see that nowadays, because I haven't played any of them for at least 2 or 3 years, I see that football games now aren't on the PS2 anymore, and those were when all video game series, changed over to PS3, Xbox 360 and all that, only football games were still on the PS2 as well as all those consoles, and now even those aren't anymore. So, interesting fact.
Yeah, I never really got into sports games personally.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a sports person in real life, so I don't want to pick one up in the game.
Yeah.
We nerds play video games for a reason, so we don't have to be badgered by people who play sports.
So quickly before we wrap up, as we're running out of time, quick opinions on the PS4 and the Xbox One. Discuss.
Xbox One. Why? Why? That's it.
That'll do for quick, Dan.
I would say let all these consoles die. I mean, PC's for the win. I'm sorry. Xbox has really just killed themselves. PS4 I never cared so much about, but still they've done more than Xbox. And I'm sorry, that ad was, okay, I'm gonna be quick. That ad when I'm not sure, maybe it was the CEO, but then this is how you lend your game. Step 1. In some Ethereum music plays, and then here, and the nerdy guy says thanks. It's like basically the best trolling ad I've seen in years. Just such an amazing. You have to look it up. It's everywhere. It's like the best.
It is hilarious.
It's so basically, PS4 has won this round. Xbox they tried. I'm sorry, Graham. Yes, I know you love Halo.
If I took a shot every time they said TV in that press conference, I'd be dead.
Xbox tried. I'm sorry, Graham. Yes, Halo looks amazing. I'm sorry for nitpicking so much about it. I don't like it. I'm sorry, but it does look visually stunning. And I know Xbox is trying to reel in customers by showing off these amazing games. But again, they shot themselves in the foot with no lending games, no whatever.
I was really annoyed by that because, see, I'm a pre-owned game buyer. I'd say a good 80% of the games on my shelf to my left are pre-owned. And I was really annoyed by that because, I'm a pre-owned gamer. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I love getting stuff really cheap. I'm a scab that way, but still. Why? Please, Microsoft, tell me why. I'm your friend. But, I see, nevertheless, I am probably gonna try and pick one up for Halo. And that's, I want another reason to buy one. At the moment, it's just getting very, Why, Microsoft? Why?
I mean, the thing is though, like, from what I heard, the only positives about the Xbox One are like things that PlayStation already covered. You know,
Blu-ray
PlayStation
player.
3. Yeah, exactly. Dan.
A console, a TV, what? The next thing is gonna be a dishwasher. I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah,
gonna be a
like
dishwasher.
they're trying to be everything but a games console, which really, really